What does Zyn really give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but also real freedom to do more of what you love, when and where you want to do it. Why bring Zyn along for the ride? Because America's #1 nicotine pouch opens up all the possibilities of right now. With Zyn, you don't just find freedom, you keep finding it. Find your Zyn. Learn more at Zyn.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
This Memorial Day, turn up the heat with the Home Depot. Find the perfect grill and patio set to keep the cookouts coming all season long. Grill up a feast with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill, only $229. And complete your space with the stylish Glen Ridge Falls 7-piece dining set, now on special buy for just $499 with free delivery. Take your Memorial Day cookout to the next level all summer long with the Home Depot. See homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I feel like I should owe the audience some apologies here for Amin's general disrespect of Jim Irsay and Stugotz not giving the people what they want today on the New York Knicks tears. He's a very public Knicks fan, and all of a sudden he doesn't care about the Knicks anymore. We're 2 hours into the show, and people are here for your tears, and you're not giving it to them. You're saying, have perspective, Knicks in 6.
Well, I have confidence in this team. They were down 20 twice against Boston. Tatum was healthy. They came back. They won both those games. They lost game 3 at home. They came back, and they bounced back in game 4, and they won that game. They're sitting here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Last night hurt. I'm not going to say it didn't hurt. Of course it hurt. I was broken last night, but having time to think about it and think about this Knicks team, it's game 1. They're not going to back down from the Pacers. They're a strong team. Brunson's probably the best player on the court every time he takes the court at this point. So I have confidence in the Knicks winning this series in 7 games. Yes.
I mean, what do you think of what he just said? Brunson's the best player on the court in this series.
I don't think that's out of the question, right? I mean, obviously Halliburton's great too, but I think Brunson has kind of proven that he's the real deal. They both are guys that are kind of underestimated by most people for different reasons. Brunson because he's short, Halliburton because he's annoying.
The annoying is a lot of fun, and this is also a lot of fun, Stugotz, because you're saying I'm soaking all of this with numbers, that me and Jeremy are annoying with all of the math. How about some fun? Would you like to hear a Korean broadcast celebrating the biggest collapse in New York Knicks history?
할리버튼 5초, 할리버튼 갑니다. 4초, 3초, 2점이 노리나요? 자, 빠져나가면서 할리버튼 쏩니다. 이게 뭐예요? 이게 뭡니까? 할리버튼의 초크 세레머니까지.
That was actually amazing to see the waveform, to see the gap between the ball hitting the rim, and you actually hear Knicks fans celebrating in the background, thinking that it's a miss.
Yep.
Can we just isolate the shot? That was crazy. That was also a full second.
You guys have to appreciate this part of it, though, Stugotz, because the fear was growing in the building over the last 6 minutes.
Right.
Because there was such silence there, you're picking up sounds here that you normally wouldn't pick up because there's just a blanket of fear in the place, and the ball's suspended as if the game's buffering.
자, 빠져나가면서 할리버튼 쏩니다.
Wow, that little moment of cheering from the Knicks fans.
The cheers on the way up.
할리버튼의 초크 세레머니까지.
Because normally, when it clangs that way on the rim, you don't get to be celebrated today as better than Dame Lillard and the best player in this series.
I'm reminded
because he got lucky. Because he got lucky.
Yeah.
Shooter's touch.
That was shooter's bull.
About that.
Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll at Le
It
Batard
wasn't
Show.
a bad shot. It was a good-looking shot.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Was that shooter's touch or shooter's bull? The shooter's touch doesn't clank that far high. Come on.
It was on such a line. Like, it was a good shot. It was pure.
Backspin.
할리버튼의 초크 세레머니까지.
It was so pure that it bounced totally vertically and as if pulled on a string to tear out the heart of all of New York.
By little angelic
We're celebrating a guy who made a mistake. He was trying to step back and take a three. He took a more difficult two.
I mean, that's a take. That's a take.
Well, what he's saying is that was actually in every way a failure.
It's the opposite of playing the result. Opposite of playing the result. Out of all the players to say make a free throw or hit rim, step back a little further, Halliburton's the take.
I like what he's saying because a mistake and luck knocks Neesmith off of the news. 6 threes, not as important as the one that wasn't a three, but he thought was a three and almost ended up with an eternal choke sign because he couldn't put his foot in the right place. You all thought of Durant there, right?
A little bit.
Well, I mean, that's what I thought was going to happen in overtime, that they were going to lose the game, and then we'd all look back and say that's the second time if a guy wore a sneaker that was a size smaller, they'd be moving on, but no. But no, they ended up winning in overtime, and that was the impressive thing about the Pacers.
For reasons I don't understand, Stugotz has a top 5 list of people who have scored more than Reggie Miller. He would like to do that in a second. But before we do that, I have been remiss. Mike blew so much NASCAR breath in my face when I got in here today, and IndyCar too. Have you guys been getting this? Mike's
got it all day yesterday.
Yeah, Mike's obsession with
all day yesterday. Got it for 30 seconds, which is what I'm limited to on this ridiculous show, even though NASCAR is now a proud partner of this show.
30 seconds too long.
NASCAR is now a proud partner of this
more
show.
NASCAR.
You know what? Hold on a second.
Dipshit.
Hold on. This is
Miller Lite. I love Miller Lite.
Get out of here.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes, major asshole.
Are you an idiot? Like, are you an idiot?
Say what you want about me, but I would never, ever, ever criticize the brands that are invested in our show.
Does he have to go
He's
too?
got to go too, yeah.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes, major asshole.
Back to back.
Do you know how much I appreciate our sponsors? You can't possibly know how much I appreciate our sponsors. And we got this clown show back here. One in a vest. The other one just, I'm a renegade. I can't be controlled. Look, I got so many funny impersonations.
Speaking of our proud sponsors, I've said a couple of times this week, it's the biggest week in motorsports. Sunday, the biggest day in motorsports. Now, yesterday, we covered Kyle Larson aiming to be just the second human being in history to run all 1,100 miles in both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. So, the nightcap of that double. Should Kyle Larson do the impossible?
Can you explain this for a second? Because don't speed through this. I know we don't give you a lot of time here, but just this has been tried before, and he couldn't do it the last time he tried.
Last year, he tried it. It's actually what got me really into NASCAR, the pursuit of history. Kyle Larson racing 2 different races, 2 different cities, 2 different circuits. Kyle Larson made a rookie mistake last year in the Indy 500, came in too fast into the pit, and it cost him the opportunity.
He's Deion
to
Sanders.
Win that race. Yeah, he's Kyle Larson. We've talked about him before. If it's got wheels, he's probably the best in the planet at driving it. And in Charlotte, because I want to focus on the NASCAR end, he has the opportunity, should the weather hold up, because that was also part of the issue last year. He finished all the miles in the Indy 500 last year, but that race got delayed by weather. And he flew into Charlotte. He was going to switch with a driver in one of the pits. You can do that in NASCAR. But the weather did not cooperate in Charlotte, and he never actually got in the car, so he didn't even feature in that NASCAR race. He's aiming to do all 1,100 miles. The only person in history to do that was Tony Stewart. He finished top 6 in the Indy, which was really impressive, and top 3 in Charlotte. No one's ever won both races in one day. If Kyle Larson does that, every show in America needs to be talking about it.
Unlikely for him to do that, correct?
It's unlikely because he's not an IndyCar driver. He just does this as a one-off, and we'll see if he has enough speed. He's kind of pushing the car a little bit, crashed out a couple times in practice because he's really pushing that car. We'll get to what's going on in IndyCar, but I want to focus on NASCAR because should Kyle Larson finish the race in Indy, do all the miles there, he's aiming to do something for just the second time in history. Finish all the miles in what is NASCAR's longest race. Charlotte has, and Larson won at Charlotte last year when it was the Roval. But he's going to be doing this very long primetime race. It's going to be Amazon Prime's first race of their new contract with Dale Jr. helping on the call. And it should be an amazing race. Hendrick, he's a racer for Hendrick Motorsports. They usually perform quite well in Charlotte, so he has a really good chance at this track. Should he do the Indy 500, and just for him to complete all the miles, that's a hell of an accomplishment. Should he win it? everybody needs to be tuning in to Charlotte to see if Kyle Larson can do something that no one has ever done. Gearhead, by the way, is presented by NASCAR, our proud partners. Woo! For all the latest insights and storylines, to find out when and where to watch, visit NASCAR.com.
He's too dangerous a pirate. This is what he is. He is Amin El-Hassan. He cannot be trusted around our beloved brands because he's too dangerous for mainstream media.
I love them all. I love all of our brands. Every single last one of them.
By the way, if we have another break, I'd love to tell you what's going on with Team Penske and IndyCar. It's a huge controversy, biggest scandal in sports.
I'd like to actually talk about this for a second before we get back to. I do want at some point Stugotz's tears because when he says broken last night, I don't know if he still cares as much as you need to care about just in general sports. And I'm not like, we've been in this business a long time, Stugotz, so this I understand how it is that, like, Ben Stiller, for example, would be just a child around the Knicks, still like a child, and that being in this business would harden you in a way that wouldn't make you break anymore after 25 years of suffering because you're an adult now and you're not consumed and obsessed with sports being your entire life like when you were in your early 20s. And so it doesn't hurt for you if you don't care as much as the next person does.
I care deeply. It hurt last night, but it was game 1 of a best-of-7 series in which we have home court. And so I believe in this Knicks team. My apologies for believing in my team. I've been waiting 25, 30 years for this team to get to an Eastern Conference Finals. They're here. I'm not going to let the good feelings I have be sullied by one lucky basket by Halliburton. I'm just not going to do it.
What if they lose game 2?
Tears. Full tears. Then the series is over. Then I have something to cry about. Last night was a bad moment. The season's not over yet. There's still hope. I still feel like we have the better team.
The thing that I'm confused by, the only thing that I'm confused by as it relates to how it is that Stugotz would or should suffer it. Sure, that's the perspective to have if any team that's the favorite loses game 1 at home. However, the way they lost.
Right.
The way they lost, where your fan base goes from jubilant to now terrified. They're now going into the same arena they played in last time with this fear sweeping through New York because you dared to hope the thing that's been hopeless for a long time. And so, in the careening emotions of that, I can imagine that this will linger. You're showing the correct perspective, but it's not.
It will linger if we lose the series. It will not linger if they win game 2 and go back to Indiana 1-1. They'll be fine.
Okay, so do you believe in the idea of this kind of loss means something? Where we're having some conversations about, do you think Karl Anthony Towns was relieved this morning because Brunson shot the air ball and he merely ticked the front of the rim? So it wasn't 2 straight air balls while you're choking from your 2 big guys. That Karl Anthony Towns is waking up and raising a fist to the air because he's like, Brunson didn't even hit the rim. I came closer.
Dan, I look at last night's game because they're so evenly matched, but I see the Knicks up 14 with under 3 minutes to go, up 9 with under a minute to go, and I feel pretty good about our chances moving forward. Like, last night really, really hurt, but it was game 1. It was not game 6. It was not game 7. It was game 1, and we have home court advantage. Get this thing back to the Mecca for a game 7 at home.
Can you believe what you're hearing?
And we win.
Do you guys, Mike?
I learned it from you.
Mike, we've been doing this show for 20 years. Now it's
game 1.
Crushing historic loss for all time, and Stugotz is going to just bravado his way through it.
Also, for his take to be, I have faith in my team. They're the New York Knicks.
Right.
That's stuff like
this team.
No. Yes. Why?
This
team hasn't done anything yet.
This is not a typical New York Knicks team. This team is good.
They just had the biggest choke in NBA history. What are you talking about? This is not the same New York Knicks.
They'll bounce back. Aren't you guys interested to see if this team has the mental fortitude to bounce back after that devastating
loss?
Yes, very
interested. Right. But if I were a Knicks fan, I'd be highly doubtful and not cocksure the way that you are.
All right, I'm confident in Brunson. What can I tell you? He gives me confidence, that guy.
Faux cocksureness.
It is. I think,
you think I'm devastated, huh?
I think it's a mask.
Yeah.
I think you're spewing lies, always.
That or you were genuinely locked in on Stars Oilers. It's the only other explanation.
I mean, I can't believe they blew that third period lead.
You are...
the best player in the world.
Howdy, listeners. It's Mike. This is one of the best times of the year. You're caught up in the emotion of the playoffs. Big-time crucial games, going to games, hanging with your boys, hanging with your ladies, hanging with your family, and having a good old-fashioned time. Well, I can speak from experience. I've been doing all those things, but I've been doing so with a Miller Lite by my side because having good times is great. Making those good times a Miller time makes it an unbelievable time, a time of your life. With Miller Lite, a brand and a beverage that has been around for 50 glorious years. That's hard to do. Remain popular and delivering on great flavor for 50 years, brewed with simple ingredients. None of the fluff, just real flavor. Malted barley gives it that rich, balanced coffee note taste and the iconic golden color that just hits right every time. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey, listeners, listen up, because I know that approaching this summer, you're probably as busy as I am, but also as desperate as I am to find some healthy meals that you can fit into those busy windows. Well, it's time to make this the best summer yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor Meals arrives fresh and ready to eat. It's perfect for any active lifestyle because with 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. In my most recent meals, I had the honey mustard chicken, I had that garlic herb salmon, and every side, every part of this meal was delicious. Honestly, at the end of it, I was just left wanting more because Factor's meals are that fresh, that delicious, and that nutritious. So get started at factormeals.com/Dan50off and use code Dan50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Dan50off at factormeals.com/Dan50off for 50% off plus free shipping.
Dan wouldn't understand this. He's busy running a content circus. But if you're actually running a business, then you know. Hiring the right people isn't just important, it's everything. And that's why LinkedIn Jobs is an absolute game changer for small business owners. You're juggling payroll, logistics, maybe even mopping the floors before you open. You don't have time for flaky resumes, ghosted interviews, or job boards that feel like a black hole. When it's time to hire, you need a partner who grinds just like you. LinkedIn? They don't sleep. You clock out, they clock in. They'll help you write the job post quickly and clearly. Promote it, you'll get 3 times more qualified applicants. Not a guess, real data. And once it's live, LinkedIn helps you amplify it by sharing it with your network. You can even add that hashtag hiring frame to your profile, which doubles the number of qualified candidates you're likely to see. This is built for business owners who care about getting it right. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DLS. That's linkedin.com/DLS to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Dan Le Batard.
If Daniel Day-Lewis did it, you'd be jerking off all over yourself.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I would be.
Aggressive
Come
description.
on. I mean, what is it? What is that?
No, I'm just saying.
No,
You know what?
That's
You're
me.
just saying what?
That's me.
That was
Daniel
something
Day-Lewis
brewing
does
from
something.
yesterday, yeah.
I see that photo of Daniel Day-Lewis looking like Lincoln before he's about to start filming Lincoln. And you know what I do, Amin?
Stugotz.
I jerk off all over myself. That's what I do.
Lincoln, who you outed the other day?
Don't make this a rejoin.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Tony Reali, would you like to make a verdict here? We think that
Stars are banged up.
I'm
Stugotz
just amused. I love Stu feeling these emotions in his life where everything's going to work out great. And it's wonderful because we have such a history of year upon year of success. Oh, no. You should be panicked. You should be pulling your hair out right now, Stu. What are you talking about?
You're not giving the people the authentic heartbreak that they want today. New York, Stugotz, they dared to hope. I'm not saying that it's hopeless. It can't start worse than that.
It can't, Dan, but if you asked any Knick fan, hey, Eastern Conference Finals home court advantage before the season, they'd be like, Yeah, we'll take it. Sign me up. That feels good.
That's just a coping strategy. What
is.
you're doing now is you're trying to lower expectation.
I am. Thank you.
So that the fall from the top of this mountain is not going to hurt you.
It's all self-protection. He won't show us his real feelings. This is caveman male behavior from him. He's wrapped in
it's
armor.
An admirable trait. It comes from a place of being a Jets fan. It comes from a place we get what that is. But there is a part of the Knicks that is Jets, and that is Mets. There isn't a part of the Knicks that is Yankees in that way. The fans may feel they're that, but they're not. There is a trait, a DNA sequence in the New York Knicks that leans Mets and Jets.
How did you feel as somebody who loves New York, I would say?
I have melancholy of missing out right now. I said this to somebody this week because this show's ending in the middle of the playoffs, Dan. Now I'm beginning to at least feel a little bit like, what? In the middle of the playoffs? I've waited for this story for 20 years to talk about New York basketball, and I'm not even going to see it to the end. I went to the game a couple games ago. I see all my colleagues courtside and in press row. I went as a fan just to hang out with some friends, and I'm not even going to see it to the end. So now I'm experiencing that. And I'm watching how good these games are, and it's just like, I'm going to have a chance to talk about it today on Around the Horn, but I won't next week. And that's now something that's in this part. It hits me here. It hits me right here.
Well, can I hire you as a Meadowlark New York Knicks correspondent better than Sam Morrell to do something after Around the Horn?
You don't have enough? You've got Stu. Stu, I am impressed, honestly, by your positivity today.
Thank you.
It's something that I find aspirational.
Thank you.
I think that you've got Stu, you got it covered.
Do you know how sad it is when Tony Reali is looking for inspiration for positivity? That's the sign that this is rock bottom.
And I found it in Stugotz.
This is Tony's fault. I spent too much time with him, talking to him.
We had a wonderful conversation, Stu. Stu asked questions. He asked the tough questions. He asked the questions Dan Patrick won't ask, right? And that was a wonderful thing. So Stu and I shared a moment this week, and he may have taken on my overall outlook of life with the New York Knicks, which is undeserved. That you should not have that outlook with the Knicks. They haven't earned it.
Man, a guy that's going to be out of work soon. Dan offered him a job, and he said no. That's sad. That's pathetic.
That's bottom.
I thought he said he wanted to work around the Knicks. He's going to miss it so much, and then he's offered.
Not for us.
Sounds
like Dan Patrick. I don't know.
I'll be yelling at a street corner. I'll be yelling for you. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I just wanted that. To see a season to the end and not end on May 23rd, going away to the end of the
unhouselessness over us.
Yeah.
You're making the media rounds these days. I'm reading a lot of things about you all of a sudden.
I said yes to everybody, which is, somebody called me a recluse, Dan, this week. The usually reclusive Reali. I've been on TV every day for 25 years. I think I felt like I had my voice out there. I didn't need to do interviews every day, but I was what I was appreciative of? I came on. You said, come on the show that one day the press release came out or whatever it was. I was basically holding a phone in front of, I was on the screen. I just came on. It was the worst photo you could possibly. Now that's the photo they put out there. When awful announcing is like, we polled 5 people in our office and Around the Horn was just okay. Well, thanks for that article, awful announcing. And this is the photo we're going to put a Reali out there too.
Yeah, your hair was terrible in it. You looked unprofessional. You looked.
I dropped the phone onto my crotch in the middle of it.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. As an audition for America, it was embarrassing. You seemed nervous as well. But things.
You did that to me. You loved it.
But now look at you. Now soaring. Through the sky, turning down job offers, have competition for all of a sudden everyone's like, look at this positive television sports person who can do live things well. Perhaps he's been in a cage at ESPN and is now going to soar freely through the cosmos.
I never felt I was in a cage. I'd be the circus animal who'd be dancing along in the cage like, hey guys, how we doing? I'm too much of a pleaser to begin with.
Okay, well, pleaser, you've made the media rounds here recently on a show that had more episodes. I saw Pablo wrote this the other day. More episodes than Oprah. more episodes than Jerry Springer. There was somebody else I'm forgetting.
Letterman, it was on there. You know, these are talk shows, right? I mean, Sesame Street and Simpsons have incredible numbers, and maybe we're at a higher number than that, but those aren't talk shows. I'm just having to generate show every day. Those are the numbers. And PTI is even above us by another 200 episodes, you know? So yeah, that's pretty great. That's in the top 10 all time in the history of that medium. If you trust Wikipedia.
Art of Conversation.
It was a good run. It was a good run.
Art of Conversation is what you hit me with. It was
Riley
2.
Tyson,
it was 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Yes.
Riley and Ricky.
2 episodes.
Yeah. Oh, Ricky, huh?
No, not
No, it's
Ricky.
Tyson.
I said Tyson.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
See where
Chris didn't know what he was doing.
You know what I was doing there.
They had Ricky in the can. It didn't get picked up. Do you have the unreleased Ricky Art of Conversation?
Do we have the rights to that? Maybe we should air that.
It was unnecessary. We're celebrating this man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give me. I can take anything you got. That's fine.
Well, but
I'll give it back.
we're taking shots at him. Tony.
They're making fun of the Art of Conversation,
Yes.
a 2-episode show
and
that
the
I
idea
had.
of what a talk show is. Somebody was critical of me today because I had allowed to say that there were journalists on our show, and they even practiced journalism from occasion because I didn't acknowledge it was a show. A sports show, an entertainment show. I mean, I didn't think that was needing to be said, right? I mean, I think that was that we do we take ourselves too seriously? Nobody in my life would imagine that. I think
he might actually literally be thinking about the art of conversation.
He doesn't know about the show.
He doesn't know about it.
It was only 2 episodes. How should he know?
Tony Reali was doing his own show, which aired.
People are still talking about it.
He was faking it. He can do that. He's a professional television person. He can roll with anything. He has no idea what the art of conversation is. Mm-hmm. It was a joke you made to cut me, and it was funny to the people in our audience who saw either of those 2 episodes or have heard us talk about it. But Reali doesn't know what you're talking about.
Were you ever tuned into ESPN2 at 2 a.m. in the morning in the year 2017?
I was sabotaged
for a 2-week period.
I missed those 2 episodes, but a
lot of people did.
There was a third.
They're important in the story that
didn't
we're
get a prime time slot.
Bristol Van Talk had a longer run.
Wasn't given a real shot. Not the point when I'm talking about Around the Horn, one of the great success stories in the history of ESPN and in sports television. And he now leaves the job, and you guys should know the conversation around it, by the way, because your last show is next Friday, Tony, and then you're going to come
this
down
Friday.
here?
But thanks for keeping up with my life.
Sorry, okay.
Tomorrow,
Friday.
I'm on here. You're the second to last person I'm going to talk to. Kornheiser gets that last one on Friday morning, and that's where we are. And then on Friday afternoon, I'm going to be taking the boat over to the studio for the last time, and we got our finale planned.
Forgive me for this. I have been very in tune with your life, as you know, over the last many months, and you've been running toward this springboard with trepidation and excitement because it's an entirely new life for you. But while you're making these media rounds, I'm seeing someone who is my friend, an exceedingly kind person, a light all the time, having to make arguments against Jay Mariotti about your show or ESPN being too political or too woke when all I've ever seen you to be politically on air is kindness and decency.
Yeah, I don't know where, I don't know where it really started. I'm not that person, but I know what I am, so that's fine. I don't feel like I have to respond to anybody. I don't mind responding. I still, in my head, am scoring those arguments. You write an article about the show that is even viewing it in a critical eye, prove why your opinion is right. But if you're not going to give me examples of the reason why you feel this way, why the show got too serious because on the week that a Denver Broncos player died by suicide, Woody Page wrote a column about his depression, and we talked about it on the TV show. That's taking you too serious. I can understand that some people view one show as only one thing. This is only an escape, and I only want to see faces get muted, and but the show could evolve to something else as well and aspire to be something else for 30 seconds, for 60 seconds, and then go back to whatever it was we were doing before. I was proud to be on a show that had that type of flexibility and agility, and I thought that, and I think the network should be happy about that it's not just cowboy hat wearing Cowboys stink. And it's not just good cop, bad cop on the show that I love more than anything, PTI. Then there was a moment where somebody may have be bearing a soul for 30 seconds. And then the same breath, we'll be talking about who you got, Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani. In my life, I like to do it all. I like to do everything. So the conversations in our show I was hopeful that they were everything. But I can understand people feel differently.
How's the last week been for you?
It's been great. Oh, I got to see Michael Smith, who I hadn't seen in years. I got to see Israel Gutierrez is, around us. I got to see, all some old friends that hadn't been on the show for a while. I have enjoyed every second of it. This is the weird thing about goodbyes. I've had a long goodbye, too long of a goodbye if I had my pick. I don't think we should be saying goodbye the show, but now that it's been decided and we're saying goodbye, I'm enjoying that, right? Because you don't usually get to go out on your own terms, and maybe somebody might. No one said anything to me. I haven't heard a thing from anybody, even in this week. But it's going to be a great week. We're watching. I haven't heard that from anybody. I don't need to hear that. So I'm going out the way I want to go out, which means I'm going to be the real ones know that the first 2 minutes of tomorrow's show are going to have a very Reali moment. I'm going to recreate something that means a lot to me. And the back end of the show is going to have the scoring explained, because I'm happy to do that. And we're going to see our 8 greatest panelists, our 8, biggest winners in the show's history for the breadth of the show.
How difficult was it to pick the panelists for this week? Because I'm sure you wanted everyone part of it. I'm sure everyone wanted.
I wanted to go with the $30, Chris. When Atlanta gets a snowstorm and they show the weather people in an $18 or whatever it is, and they're all pulling their hair out because there's an inch of snow. I wanted that. We couldn't necessarily pull that off. I think it's pretty easy when you look at the final standings, which we do. Stu, when you're on the show, we sent you a research packet. You never opened that up.
No.
There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah. But if you had opened it up, the last page of every research packet was the all-time standings, because I wanted everyone to be competitive about that. Yeah. So we have a pretty clear top 8, actually, of wins and appearances. So that's what it came down to. I think you would know the list. Of course, you can't do tomorrow's show, the finale, without Woody Page and Bob Ryan and Tim Kalishaw and Jay Adande and Kevin Blackistone. I'm going to be able to welcome Jackie McMullen back as well, which is great. Frank Isola is on the show tomorrow, which I love. And Pablo's going to be in the house, but he didn't crack the win percentage because of all those terrible predictions he had. But
would I be in that 30 box, Tony? Would I be in that 30 box?
Would you crack the top 30?
Yeah.
No, I think Lil Wayne would be pressing you out right there.
Oh, that's too bad.
He had an incredible take in his FaceTime. Just went back and watched it. This is Lil Wayne just dropping in for an episode because he was a fan of the show. He had just won, Grammys, and he was on his way to having 8 root canals. 8 root canals. I remember this because I was tracking what he was doing the week after, and the story came out. But his FaceTime was, I've spent my whole life with this fear of Lawrence Taylor, LT, the toughest guy in the world, the toughest football player in the world. Oh, he's going out there like a pack of crazed dogs, LT, and he talked about how great of a player he was. And they said, now LT is on Dancing with the Stars. Little Twinkle Toes, LT. And I thought it was what a great FaceTime. So sorry, Stu, that knocked out the moment where you appeared as the enlarged mononucleose spleen of Sam Darnold, your Jets quarterback, who was at that time out with mono.
Yeah. I won that week, too.
You did. You deserved the win. You dressed up as a spleen on international television. And the first words you said was, Tony, let me spleen something to you. All right, I got some spleening to do here. I mean, how could I not reward that? So, yes, this was a show that took itself very seriously. I thought of myself as 60 Minutes and Meet the Press as I was interviewing a spleen on TV.
How does this work for you in terms of being surprised?
Look at that face right there. That's my surprise face, too. That's listening face. That's surprise. I'm sorry, Dan. I interrupted you.
That's my young face.
That's okay.
That's your young face. Look, but why is your hair wet?
He showered for your show.
Yes.
He showered.
But
that was him cleaning up for television.
A lot of gel. Yeah.
It was at Dan's wedding.
Yeah.
When you were rolling in well after the ceremony, like, I mean, why watch Dan get married?
Right.
Brushing his teeth.
You took a shower with a water bottle. I saw it
in a guy's driveway.
on the walk from the car to where we were, and you put water in your hair. You like that look, huh?
I do.
He's brushing his teeth behind the bush.
We were all there. I mean, we saw it. We were all there. You can't run from that. That's why that man is not worried about the Knicks, because he knows when it comes down to it, he's going to be able to brush his teeth on the way to somebody's most important moment of their lives and wash his hair with the water bottle.
Can you take us through here when you're talking about how great this week has been, whatever goodbye is going to be, and however you want the punctuation on this thing to look tomorrow? I am certain that you will get emotional. I know I did. And I did a show that I was very proud of that didn't have a third of the run.
The Art of Conversation.
Of your show. You have something in your legacy that very few people ever get, which is a community of a generation of people who care about something that you did on television. And so what's going to happen tomorrow as you say goodbye? What are you imagining as you walk in, and what are you leaving?
I mean, this week, just to start with that, I've had to already say goodbye to now 10 panelists, 15 panelists. They won't be on tomorrow's show. Their spirit will be there, yada, yada. So, I mean, to see Harry Lyles yesterday was very emotional talking about it, because I know what's behind that, too. I really do. We've done the work, Harry and I, together, you know, and I tried to do that with every panelist. But I know what he's feeling and what he's talking about, because he was a reporter, much like myself when I was 25 on TV as a host. You know, we all had imposter syndrome, and we're faking it until we make it and doing everything, right? And he's just imagining himself. What am I going to be thinking? Well, that first 2.5 minutes of the show where I am going to be in Tony performer mode, you know, which is naturally me, but it's going to be, you know, I'm not going to get emotional at that. My kids are going to be on set. You know, I have a special guest on set that is probably going to make me not get emotional. It's going to make me giggle and have fun. So the first segments of the show will be that. I'm going to have, you know, some close people to me right off camera too, which is probably going to throw me for a loop a little bit when I am in the moment of the show. But I'm going to be very focused on Woody and Bob and Tim and J.A. and making sure that they get their moment too. I'm the star in my own movie, but everybody's the star in their own movie. So
Chris, is this him dinging? Is that who's dinging around here?
That's me. So, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I'm also, you know, doing Around the Horn today.
Yeah, you're very popular. Very popular.
What was the ding you heard? I have to do the twinkle from Back to the Future.
It's fine.
Is that a copyright now that you guys are going to be charged
when you come down here later? When you come down here in a month, $5 you owe us, because that's not.
Sorry about that.
That's not allowed.
Let me turn it off. So I'm going to be too present. There's my mononucleose. Definitely.
Sam Darnold's spleen, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stugotz breaking through to stardom.
To the costume, right? I mean, you can see that was touched by the finest seamstress in land.
We didn't have much of a costume budget then, I don't think.
That just looks terrible. If you look at it from a different angle, it's just even going to a worse place than the spleen. Oh my goodness! Why did we allow that on TV?
Let me ask you.
What a great question. Did the Nats win it or did the Astros blow it? I mean,
this is what you want, a spleen answering. See, that's so that way. But let me get that right. So then that had to be like game 3 of the World.
Yeah.
I heard, Tony, when you came into the broadcast, I heard someone say that you were shaking your head before you came on because someone said something around here about mental fortitude. That you immediately, who was it? Was it Stugotz talking about mental fortitude?
Yes. Intestinal fortitude, mental fortitude. You had said maybe even the word tortured soul. So of course, this is what I'm walking into. I didn't know what I was listening to. I thought you were talking about me.
You always do. You always do. That's what television distorts.
Yes, but mental fortitude. That would be a banned phrase on Around the Horn if we made it to season 24.
That is correct, because no matter what the critics would say about that show, it did do it differently and it made things smarter. It was viewed and weaponized as a political vehicle just because Tony proudly gave diverse voices a chance chance to speak on a stage where ESPN was woefully deficient in that area. These were groundbreaking shows that Eric Rydholm proceeded over, and this one ends, and I'm reading reports with this that they wanted Tony and Mike to do twice the show now, but they weren't. The reports are saying they weren't offering them more money to do more of the shows. But clearly, what was built there is being pushed out. Because you still haven't gotten a good explanation from anybody.
Yeah, I've had to live with the idea that, do I need one? I've gone through, moments where I'm like, do I need one? Do I not need one? I have to now, because of the absence of any explanation and any communication. They've got their hands full. and they have to be understanding that, I have to be understanding that they're dealing with things that are, very serious. So they have to be addressing those, and they've already made their decision. I thought I could change their mind for many, many months. And maybe there was a plan. I would have to believe and hope there was a plan. But I don't know if I had it explained to me. I know I definitely said, well, this is going away. You know what if I was in the business of running things, I would be paying the highest rated show all the money in the world and asking them to work as long as I possibly could. So, I don't think it would be the best PTI if PTI expanded from 30 minutes to an hour, but I sure as heck would want the highest rated show and my friends to be making so much more money to do more work. Absolutely. That's what I would have approached it as. Yeah.
But you're proud of what you made.
Of course, Dan. I'm proud. I still will believe it's good that there's different shows on the network. And there's different voices on the network, and the shows that do different things. So I will be more than I always felt PTI and Around the Horn, and I will say this proudly. It wasn't the ESPN PTI 30 minutes. It was the ESPN happy hour. You can tell me any way. I know this show was driving ratings that they had to be happy and proud of, because I've seen press releases for shows at our network that they've been happy and proud of, and the ratings weren't even that. And the ratings growth wasn't even what we had the day the first report came out that they were thinking about it. So I know what that is. I've heard from people who know the business a lot more than me, how profitable a show this was. I have an idea how profitable it was because people have written about other shows and their wonderful contracts, and everybody should be making all the money in the world. But hearing all these wonderful things, I know our show had to be incredibly profitable for a network. And that fills me with a little bit of pride from a business side of it. But that doesn't mean anything to me when I wake up in the morning and go to bed at night after doing a show. I wanted to put great content out there, great shows out there, fun shows, because I think more than anything, I have to say this now because somebody thought I was being serious at times in our 50,000 episodes, and I was happy to be heartful would be the word I would use. We had fun. So this was a fun show. And PTI Around the Horn, highly questionable. I know in my heart, and I know viewers have told me this for 20 years plus, those shows feel different. They feel different than what the network does, and that's good. You should want different. That's how I feel.
You've always been very cool about being publicly vulnerable and honest. So I am legitimately curious about this because I haven't asked you this off air. Yeah. In what tomorrow will be for you at the punctuation of an incredible run, do you think you'll have 100% gratitude without any of the hurt or the I know we can put. Yeah,
I think I'm there. I think I'm already there. That's about me releasing the need for an explanation or me knowing. I've had my 2 conversations over 5 months, and I don't know if I'm getting another one. I would welcome another one. I would welcome another one today. Even someone saying, I know you had a big show tomorrow. We'll be watching, and the shows have been great. That would be nice to hear, but I don't need to hear that. I've had 6 months really to deal with this, Dan, and you've been on the other end of the call many times.
Hold on, Tone. Yes. But hold on. If I just may, right? Like you're putting a brave face on that. And yeah, it's business. Nobody has to care about you. You're not owed anything. That's what the money's for. They paid you, but. It sounds like what you're saying is some form of, hey, does someone over there want to give me a hug because we did a nice thing here together for 23 years? And
I give hugs. The hugs are free. So, yes, I would appreciate a hug. Yeah, of course. I can admit that. I have had heart-to-hearts with many people in the industry And you're at the top of that list, then, who have told me what a gift this is for me. A gift. So I was given a gift. They may not even be thinking about me as but I have a gift going forward. And I've had many moments in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Yourself a point. Again, I'm sorry. 2 to 3 weeks where people who are in the industry that I don't know, who are just aware of me, who have given me a gift so that I don't have anxiety about May 24th and August 31st and the next whatever years of my career. I have no anxiety for that because I know I am appreciated. I know it was not unnoticed that I was on TV for 23 years for a show that made an imprint and did some wonderful things. I know that's known. I have no fear. I don't need someone to tell me it every single day.
Well,
the punctuation's coming, so there should be a conversation.
But just so you know, and I know you know this because I know you know the power of television. I know you know the power of feelings. Just so that you know, Jeremy Taché says that you are his greatest inspiration. Now, that is a lovely compliment and also an insult.
And defined.
He was incredible with the bachelorette party at the baseball game last week.
Hey, thanks, Tony.
I haven't sent you that note yet, Jeremy, but it's on my things to do list. I said this stupid thing that I was going to reach out to everybody who said something to the show. Now I'm starting my website, Dan. Can you give me a plug?
Yes, please. Here, the floor is yours.
TonyReali.com.
No, but hold on. If I may, I look to support everything that unspools in Tony's future here. And so
there's going to be a lot of unspooling.
Tell the people where and what they can find where they look for you.
Well, I want to connect with people like Jeremy, but even... I've been getting a lot of letters throughout my career. I've been getting books sent to me and vice versa. These are about sports. These are about sports casting. But more often than not, they're about some of those more heartful stories, not the too serious, as was called, the more heartful stories. I was on the phone yesterday, Dan, with a phone number that was left on the bottom of a letter that I've been trying to call for a week. And there was no one picking up on the other end of that phone. And I was worried. And I had someone pick up on the other end of that phone yesterday. And right when I signed off with you, I'm getting called. So yesterday's pickup was, I can't believe you actually called. Today's phone call is going to be talking about exactly how heartfelt his letter was to me and why somebody needs to be talking to him right now. So I want to be doing that in spaces as well. And this is sports conversations as well. But on my website, TonyReali.com, I'm going to have some buttons, and I'm working with tech people where we can have this connection and forums where we can have the great sports debates that I was having with everybody, and Stu included, experts and Stu that I had on Around the Horn. I want to go around the horn with the average viewers, our average sports fans, our fans.
We got to go, Reali.
Okay.
All right, quickly.
And there's a YouTube page too.
All right, we're going to put it up here for you. We're going to put the graphics up for you. There's a YouTube page, too, but Stugotz has an important question for you as punctuation.
All right, very quick. Panelists for your life, okay? You have to choose one of these guys. They go on Around the Horn. They have to win the game or you die, okay?
Yes.
Bob Ryan, Woody Page, panelists for your life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Bob Ryan would win the debate. Woody Page would be the one left standing with life. You said for life, then Woody Page is going to survive.
Cowardice in that answer.
No cowardice. You asked me who would be surviving for their life. Woody Page.
No, you need to choose one panelist. They need to win Around the Horn. Otherwise, you die.
That's
okay?
right.
Sarah Spain.
Sarah Spain.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Commish.
Finger on the laser beam, and we're about to explode planet Earth, and I needed somebody to win the arguments and do it in an Around the Horn way. Prove their opinion, do it in an entertaining way. Maybe the commish, Sarah Spade.
Good seeing you, Tony. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I love you, Dan. The middle of June, I'm coming for a full week in Miami.
Love you, buddy.
Howdy, listeners. It's Mike. This is one of the best times of the year. You're caught up in the emotion of the playoffs. Big-time crucial games, going to games, hanging with your boys, hanging with your ladies, hanging with your family, and having a good old-fashioned time. Well, I can speak from experience. I've been doing all those things, but I've been doing so with a Miller Lite by my side because having good times is great. Making those good times a Miller time makes it an unbelievable time, a time of your life, with Miller Lite, a brand and a beverage that has been around for 50 glorious years. That's hard to do. Remain popular and delivering on great flavor for 50 years, brewed with simple ingredients. None of the fluff, just real flavor. Malted barley gives it that rich, balanced toffee note taste and the iconic golden color that just hits right every time. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.